this race, leg one, the first leg of 7 for the Ocean Race Europe. And look at the crowds on the water. Look at how many boats there are right now. We knew that the Ocean Race Europe was going to be about avoiding hazards, avoiding wind farms, avoiding the rocky coast and the countries along the way. But today is going to be about avoiding the spectator fleet. They have been corralled safely away, but close enough that potentially for our boats and for our sailors, they're going to be able to hear the roar of the crowd. Well, here is the starting list, and with all of those teams, I mean, really is the very best of offshore skill. Emily, it's so difficult to pick a favourite. So many different ways to try and understand, trying to predict who is going to perform here. But at the end of the day, Paul Mayer on Biotherm, I'm sure he would agree with me. We're just going to have to get underway, and we're just going to have to see how it's going to work. Here in Kiel, 850 miles for the journey from Kiel to Portsmouth.
At the moment on that last shot, we could see that 6 of the teams were on the correct side of the line, but Holcim PRB still on this bottom side, which means when they come back towards the fleet, they'll be on starboard, they'll have rights. Definitely a boat to keep our eyes on here with 4 minutes 30 to go.
There's been a lot of debate in the boat park, here in the commentary booth, about whether we would see anybody being a little bit Justin Matrew, an incredible sailor here, and a really strong signing for Boris Herrmann. I mean, somebody who keeps her head down, possibly down and out of the limelight, but an incredible performance in the Vendée Globe, an incredible performance, and of course a winner of the last edition of the Ocean Race with 11th Hour Racing Team. She is going to be a strong asset.
Oh, definitely so. And then you've got Will Harris there as well, who has sailed with Boris since 2019, so they have many years of sailing experience together. He's there on the handles, working hard already.
This is the view down below. We're in for a bit of a treat this edition of the Ocean Race Europe. We've got cameras on the boats, under the boats, inside the boats. We've also got the onboard reporters roving around. So if we get a chance, we might be able to listen to the skippers while they're racing, if indeed the onboard reporter can just pull them away from the concentration on boat speed for a moment. The A of the Ocean Race. Here we switch to the virtual. Biotherm coming in quite nicely. They've got a full race start line open to them. Patrick Arkea, Team Malizia, opting to start on the left-hand side. They'll be clean, they'll be clear, but they won't have the best of the breeze. 15 seconds to go. Team Holcim PRB with a late deployment now. They're closest to the line, but they're certainly the slowest. Surely Biotherm is going to be able to accelerate straight over the top of them. But Rosalind Kuiper, first-time skipper, has nailed the time of distance on this start. The Ocean Race Europe 2025 gets underway, and Rosalind Kuiper, the youngest skipper in the fleet, starting strongly out in the lead. How long are we going to have to wait before we see the power come on and these boats getting up on the foils? This is the view inside. Rosalind Kuiper on the right-hand side, working the sheets, the controls, trying to get that foil to dig in, start to provide the power, and it's a good position where they are.
It's a brilliant position where PRB are. They're getting the wind first, but Patrick Arkea have their nose just forwards of the boats above them, which does give them a strong advantage here. They've got rights. The boats above them can't come down onto them. So Johan Richomme in a slightly controlling position still.
And look at how hard Johan Richomme is working that tiller. He's almost pumping the boat, working the boat up onto the foils because he knows he's got Biotherm. Look at that right in the middle of the picture. Biotherm going straight over the top of Patrick Arkea. The breeze now stolen from Johan Richomme's sails. You can see, we said coming into that line how dangerous it was to start at the leeward end, that left-hand end. Paul Mayer absolutely stole the breeze from the boat to leeward. Now waving the onboard reporter out of the way. He's got his eyes glued to that telltale. He has come into this competition knowing that so many people have tipped him for the win, and right now in the very early stages it is going well for the Frenchman. Big breeze coming over. Allagrande Mapei, huge heel. Team Holcim PRB also, and Team Holcim PRB just broaching out. Too much heel, too much power for the rudder to control. Allagrande Mapei just holding on to the power. They're using the big fractional code 0, the big head sail, giving them full power. Thomas Rien at the back of the boat. Oh, and right there in the middle, Allagrande Mapei and Team Holcim PRB getting incredibly close. Now, Team Holcim PRB was to leeward, but I think Allagrande Mapei was behind, going over the top. And that was far too close. Nobody on board either boat will be happy about that. I'm just waiting to see exactly what happened there. And it is bad news for Allagrande Mapei. The fractional masthead set, the fractional code 0 has torn. It has ripped. Now that could have been on the rigging of Team Holcim PRB. That is a disastrous way to start this race. You are now going to have to get that sail furled out of the way. It actually looks like it was the masthead code 0, and that is why they lost control. There was so much power. Nobody else was going for that big sail.
Now, all of the teams are carrying 7 sails, so it isn't the end of the world for them. But, and it's the windward foil that completely cuts through the 0. They are so sharp. They're so easy for it to happen. But that is an absolute disaster for Mapei. But they do have other sails on board. It's going to be a mission for them to deal with that now, get the sail out of the air, and try and repair it over the course of the leg.
Oh, you can just see Ambrosia Beccaria. He is not happy. He knows that he was, well, I don't want to jump the jury on this one, but I think technically in the wrong. But I think they felt we were through. We were over the top. There's no way the Team Holcim PRB will come up from there.
I copy that, Alan.
Yeah, watch is going to come off fast.
Alan, take it on this wing.
I'm happy for it to blow. I'm happy for it to blow. Okay.
Perfect. So guys, stay calm. Nico is having the phone.
Rosie, I come with you.
Head code 0, or at least one big masthead head sail set up and ready just as they touch the bow down. For Biotherm, I can see it, but it's tucked down onto the deck. So Johan Richomme and his crew are clearly thinking they're going to need that bigger head sail soon. Paul Mayer on Biotherm saying we've got time to get it up. So who's right on the weather here? Who's right on the next shift of the gears might make the difference as to who holds the lead.
And there is a big trade-off with that as well. So having it up in the air means you're ready to go. You can deploy it within seconds. You can save time on that sail change. But that is drag, aerodynamic drag. So Biotherm is currently minimizing their drag by having less sails up in the air, which would suggest that they can get that higher top speed, which, if they don't need to change a sail for a while, could translate to hundreds of meters over the next hour. But if the conditions do change, then you're much happier having a bit more drag and being able to sort it out a lot faster.
Quite an awful lot. If you thought you could skip the first 5 minutes of this race and you wouldn't be caught behind, you are sorely mistaken. This boat here, with only their mainsail up, well, this is what happened. This is the view on board. Thomas Ria on the left-hand side, and that big turn, you can see how close. Oh, and huge damage. I wondered whether there was damage. Emily, you were pointing at the screen at the time. We weren't too sure, but there is a huge hole in the side of Team Holcim PRB, and I'm not even sure whether Team Holcim PRB knew what happened early on. They were really pushing on. Now we're going to have to wait to see. Leg 1 is underway, but unfortunately it is not underway for everybody. Team Holcim PRB is right now seeing their hopes for a strong performance in the opening stages in this race of the damage and the drama going on in Kiel. Well, this is the replay of the incident, just the aftermath. Thomas Ria on the foredeck, dropping. That is a moment where, as a sailor, as a skipper, as a team leader, you really don't want the responsibility of trying to seem calm and controlled. I mean, it wasn't that long ago he was on the dock talking about how happy he was to actually make it to the start line after nearly damaging the boat beyond repair, and then to be involved in that incident. Well, you were right, Emily, about the sea state starting to build now as we get away from the shore, starting to open up a little bit, but still at a good angle right now for the race leaders. Patrick Arkea, the boat speed is high, above 20, maybe 25 knots, and look at that sustained flight. Yeah, it's quite a ride on one of these Amokas.
It really is, and it must be incredible for Johan to actually get to drive his boat with a full crew
on those foils. But this is the start of the longer game for the navigators. Should I be half a mile further up, half a mile further down, just to get the best shift in the breeze, the next change in the wind pattern? All of that going to be hampered wrapped up, trying to keep the worst of the wind and the spray out of his ears, talking relentlessly on the comms unit into the ears of his sailors, keeping that boat right on the edge, holding onto the heel.